What you see down on the strip is just a fraction of the city's former glory, and yet, more than an echo, I preserved its spirit. Give me 20 years, and I'll reignite the high technology development sectors. 50 years, and I'll have people in orbit. 100 years, and my colony ships will be heading for the stars to search for planets unpolluted by the wrath and folly of a bygone generation. This meeting has been a long time coming, hasn't it? You've come a long ways, literally, and I suspect figuratively as well. I have to ask, now that you've reached your destination, what do you make of what you see?
In the ruins of the Mojave Wasteland, a mysterious figure schemes in secret. Mr. House, the overseer of New Vegas, has plans to change the face of the wasteland forever, yet his reach stretches far beyond the city. Is he a visionary genius, or a technocratic tyrant? Well, that depends on who you ask. In this video, I'm going to take a look at his story in detail, and break down one of Fallout's most intriguing characters. Robert Edwin House was born on the 25th of June 2020. He was orphaned at a young age after his parents' death. He was cheated out of his inheritance, however he still attended the prestigious institute in Massachusetts. On his 22nd birthday he founded Robco Industries, and within just 5 years it was one of the most profitable corporations on Earth.
I was the founder, president, and CEO of Robco Industries, a vast computer and robotics corporation. By the time I was 30 years old, I was a billionaire 30 times over. I founded and ran a vast economic empire.
Throughout the game, he shows himself to be a ruthless businessman and a cunning strategist. I've seen people say he's a libertarian, but I think his principles align more with objectivism, though not perfectly. Rational self-interest as the ultimate moral good, individualism, laissez-faire capitalism, and using reason as the only tool for gaining knowledge. Where he differs is when it comes to the role of his leadership, as he sees himself as an autocrat who will rule over mankind as a kind of CEO, and the other area where he differs is his willingness to get rid of competition in a more literal sense, shall we say.
Your next assignment is to locate and destroy remnants of the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. Please, put them out of my misery.
In the year 2077, the Great War broke out, destroying the world in nuclear fire. Mr. House had seen it coming, and had made preparations, but he miscalculated.
By 2065, I deemed it a mathematical certainty that an atomic war would devastate the Earth within 15 years. Every projection I ran confirmed it. I knew I couldn't save the world, nor did I care to, but I could save Vegas, and in the process, perhaps save mankind. I set to work immediately. I thought I had plenty of time to prepare. As it turned out, I was 20 hours short. On the day of the Great War, 77 atomic warheads targeted Las Vegas and its surrounding areas. My networked mainframes were able to predict and force transmit disarm code subsets to 59 warheads, neutralizing them before impact. Laser cannons mounted on the roof of the Lucky 38 destroyed another 9 warheads. The rest got through, though none hit the city itself. A suboptimal performance, admittedly. If only the platinum chip had arrived a day sooner.
Mr. House paid dearly for his miscalculation. He'd created the platinum chip, a data chip that was to be used to upgrade his defences, but he was a day too late.
The platinum chip was printed in Sunnyvale, California on October 22nd, 2077, the day before the Great War. It was to have been delivered by courier the following afternoon, but by then, the world had ended. The chip contained vital software upgrades, but not just for my Securitrons. Every aspect of the missile defense grid would have been upgraded too. Given that I had to make do with buggy software, the outcome could have been worse. I nearly died as it was. Software glitches set off a cascade of system crashes. I had to take the Lucky 38's reactor offline, lest it melt down. For nearly 5 years, I battled power outages and more system crashes until I finally managed to reboot my data core with an older version of the OS. I spent the next few decades in a veritable coma, but I survived, obviously, and eventually thrived.
While New Vegas was spared the brunt of the nuclear blasts, thanks to Mr. House, he was still in a dangerous position. He sealed himself inside the Lucky 38 casino, attaching himself to a supercomputer. It acted as both a life support system and also allowed him to influence the world outside, all while staying in the Lucky 38.
Don't let the video screens and computer terminals fool you. I'm flesh and blood, not silicon. I see you've made a study of the topic. My knowledge of the science of longevity would fill several textbooks. Perhaps after a decade or two of economic reconstruction, I can commercialize these technologies and offer them to others, such as yourself. Let's just say it was very costly. But I was willing to make the sacrifices longevity entailed, financial and otherwise.
Once he's got the industries up and running, he even plans to market the technology, again aligned with rational self-interest. He puts his needs first, before developing the technology for the sake of others. As the head of Robco Industries, he was an expert in robotics, and had a force of Securitron robots that were able to do his bidding beyond the Lucky 38. Over the next few years, he sent his Securitron forces searching for the platinum chip, but while they searched, there were other matters to attend to. To the west, the new California Republic grew, and to the east, Caesar's Legion arose. The Securitrons on the Strip would not be enough to defend it.
Suffice it to say that when my Securitrons detected NCR scouts at Hoover Dam, I took action. I recruited a tribal force to supplement my Securitrons and renovated the Strip just in time to welcome the NCR as it marched into the region. Instead of war, a treaty was negotiated, and the money started to pour in.
Mr. House renovated the Strip and hired the 3 families to run his casinos and help defend the Strip. They were paid for their services and acted as employees. The 3 families were the Omertas, the White Glove Society, and the chairman. They worked alongside House's Securitrons to help defend the Strip, though they were each afforded a lot of independence, with Mr. House interfering very little. It was written into their contracts that the Securitrons weren't allowed in the casinos, unless under very exceptional circumstances. As the NCR moved in to take Hoover Dam, Mr. House was able to sign a treaty with them. The only reason the NCR didn't attack the Strip was due to fear of Caesar's Legion and sustaining heavy casualties in the area.
Indeed it was, and still is, but not without taking significant casualties. Would Kimball and Oliver have traded the lives of hundreds of soldiers for absolute control of Hoover Dam? Oh, yes. They weren't afraid of me. They were afraid of Caesar, that attacking me would leave them vulnerable to a Legion offensive. And so they negotiated, not out of the kindness of their hearts, as they try to make it seem, because the calculus of power left no other choice. The salient issue is that they will go to war with me, if given the chance. There's just one reason why the NCR hasn't contrived some outrage to justify invading the Strip. Caesar's Legion. The final battle between those 2 armies is fast approaching. I can't afford to let either side win on their terms.
As part of the treaty, Mr. House cleverly negotiated the use of Hoover Dam's power and made the NCR recognise his claim over New Vegas. However, the most ingenious part of the treaty was that the NCR were not allowed to prevent their own citizens from entering the Strip.
NCR forces were permitted to occupy Hoover Dam and establish a military base at McCarran Airport. Well, it used to be one. They recognized my sovereignty over the Vegas Strip and agreed to supply electricity and water once their engineers repaired the dam. Written into the treaty were provisions that the NCR do nothing to prevent its soldiers and civilians from visiting the Strip. That's how I harness the NCR to my endeavor. Their occupation has been the engine of my growing economy. Why would I want to go to war against the NCR? They're my best customers. If their leaders weren't scheming to steal Vegas out from under me, I'd have no troubles with the NCR at all.
Mr. House's economy boomed, with citizens from across the NCR and the Mojave flocking to visit, but the prosperity wouldn't last forever. The Battle of Hoover Dam would ultimately be decided, and Mr. House would have to contend with either the NCR or Caesar's Legion eventually. This is a fact he was very aware of, and why he'd need the platinum chip. He'd spent decades searching Sunnyvale, where the chip was printed, until the chip was finally found. He devised a plan to get the chip to New Vegas, without raising attention. He hired 7 couriers, one of which is the player. 6 of the couriers were dummies, and the player carried the real platinum chip. However, his real enemies were closer to home.
You realize you were just one of many couriers. The rest of them, dummies, so to speak? Add to that many thousands of caps worth of mercenary protection to screen your avenue of approach. Had I used an armed caravan to transport the chip, I might as well have been announcing to the world, "This is important. Attack this." I didn't want to attract the attention of groups like the Great Khans or the Brotherhood of Steel. Alas, the real threat was closer to home.
And this is where Benny comes in. Benny was the head of the chairman. Mr. House took him on as his protege. As he was in a machine, he'd need a capable human to do his bidding in the wasteland. However, Benny had his own ideas about what to do with the chip.
Benny has led the chairman ever since I recruited his tribe 7 years ago. Until his recent misbehavior, I'd planned to make him my protege. Maybe if I'd begun grooming him sooner, none of this would have happened. To achieve my aims, I require a capable human agent to perform certain tasks. I knew Benny was ambitious, even ruthless, but I believed he would do the job so long as he was incentivized appropriately. Obviously, I miscalculated his drive for supremacy, but in any case, you've come along, a more than suitable replacement. I have to think that he found out about the platinum chip and mistakenly convinced himself that he could use it to his own ends. One of the problems of a tribal workforce, I'm afraid. No intuitive understanding of how complex technologies can be.
Benny had the courier captured in Goodsprings. He shoots the player in the head and runs off with the chip. Given how far Goodsprings is from New Vegas, Mr. House couldn't intervene directly. Instead, he has his Securitron Victor dig the player up, and it's here the game unfolds.
Why didn't Victor intervene sooner, you mean? Goodsprings is a bit too far away for me to reliably control a Securitron agent by remote. I can send and receive packets of data at best. Victor's combat algorithms determined the proper course of action. Benny and his thugs were more than a match for a lone Securitron. When he alerted me, I instructed him to approach the site after Benny and the others had departed.
The player can become Mr. House's new protege. When they finally arrive at the Lucky 38, the player is tasked with retrieving the chip from Benny. After doing so, we finally see why Mr. House wanted it so dearly.
Such a small thing, isn't it? And yet so capacious, so very dear. Decades of hiring salvagers out west to search for this little relic in the ruins of a place called Sunnyvale. Back then, anyway. That's where the chip was printed, on October 22nd, 2077. It was to have been hand-delivered to me here at the Lucky 38 the next day. But the bombs fell first. Suffice it to say, the delivery was never made. I've resurrected Vegas, spirit intact. What I need now is the ability to enforce my rightful claim. Not just against Caesar's Legion, by the way. In fact, the NCR is a more present and insidious threat.
He upgrades his Securitrons and defense system to be able to defend himself from the NCR and Caesar's Legion, though it's still not enough. He has the player go to the bunker under Fortification Hill in order to activate a dormant army of Securitrons that are hidden there.
As you know, the Platinum chip upgrades my Securitron's operating software. Well, there's an army of them here. The Securitrons policing the strip are a fraction of the total number manufactured. The rest I stored here. I need you to manually upload the data from the chip to the facility's primary computer. There's a terminal at the other end of this facility. My army will do what an army does best: defend territory from invaders and maintain order.
With an army now under his control, Mr. House finally reveals his ambitions for not just the Wasteland, but the whole world.
New Vegas is more than a city. It's the remedy to mankind's derailment. The city's economy is a blast furnace in which can be forged the steel of a new rail line running straight to a new horizon. What is the NCR? A society of people desperate to experience comfort, ease, luxury. A society of customers. With all that money pouring in, give me 20 years and I'll reignite the high technology development sectors. 50 years and I'll have people in orbit. 100 years and my colony ships will be heading for the stars to search for planets unpolluted by the wrath and folly of a bygone generation. I prefer the term autocrat. I would rule as a chief executive. I would not answer to a board of directors or any other entity. Nothing to impede progress. If you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows. My judgment. I have no interest in abusing others, just as I have no interest in legislating or otherwise dictating what people do in their private time. Nor have I any interest in being worshipped as some kind of machine god messiah. I am impervious to such corrupting ambitions. But autocracy? Firm control in the hands of a technological and economic visionary? Yes, that Vegas shall have.
His plans are ambitious, and are a strange mix of authority and freedom. He allows people to act mostly as they please, with his Securitrons acting as both the army and the police. Yet Mr. House retains total control over the governance of New Vegas, acting as an autocrat. Mr. House then sets the player with several tasks, involving recruiting or destroying various tribes in the Wasteland. These include the Boomers, the Emerters, and the Brotherhood of Steel. The Boomers are an unknown quantity to him, so he has the courier investigate. He suspects the Emerters of conspiring against him, and the Brotherhood of Steel, let's just say he's not their biggest fan.
Your next assignment is to locate and destroy remnants of the Mojave chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel. The NCR nearly did the job at Helios 1 a few years ago, but there seem to have been survivors, unfortunately. Given the Brotherhood's fanatical views on technology, they can be counted on to oppose my regime. Please, put them out of my misery. We're talking about a coterie of bulging-eyed fanatics who think all pre-war technology belongs to them. They'll never accept my using an army of robots to defend New Vegas. While it's a fight I can win, I'd rather sidestep it altogether. They're a terrorist group, basically. Militant, quasi-religious fanatics, obsessed with hoarding pre-war technology. Not all technology, mind you. You don't see them raiding hospitals to cart away auto docks or armfuls of prosthetic organs. No, they greatly prefer the sort of technology that puts people in hospitals. Or graves, rather, since hospitals went the way of the dodo. Because they're ridiculous. Because they gallivant around the Mojave pretending to be knights of yore. Or did, until the NCR showed them that ideological purity and shiny power armor don't count for much when you're outnumbered 15-1. The world has no use for emotionally unstable techno-fetishists. Just wipe them out, will you?
If the player sides with Mr. House, they have to destroy the Brotherhood of Steel, and there's no alternative. After the tribes have been dealt with, he then gives the courier another mission, to protect NCR President Kimball as he arrives in the Wasteland. The Legion are going to attempt to assassinate him, but Mr. House has other ideas. This may seem strange, given that the NCR would try to take out Mr. House if they could, but Mr. House wants the uneasy alliance with the NCR to continue. He wants Kimball alive, so that when the NCR and the Legion are defeated, in the upcoming war at Hoover Dam, Kimball takes the fall for the failure, instead of becoming a martyr in death.
Aaron Kimball, the president of the new California Republic, is going to visit Hoover Dam to boost morale. Apparently, he hasn't considered the effect on the troops' morale of seeing their beloved leader get his brains blown out by a Legion sniper. I need you to make sure that no harm comes to President Kimball. It's fortunate that you've maintained good relations with the NCR. I care because he is a known quantity, not the man so much as the political context he inhabits. Kimball rose to prominence as the hero of the Mojave when he led a campaign of reprisals against tribals who dared to attack NCR citizens. Ordering the occupation of Hoover Dam was his first act of office. As water and electricity flowed to NCR cities, his popularity soared. Conversely, his failure to annex the Mojave these 7 years and the immense costs of occupying a foreign land have eroded his popular support. Kimball's entire political career is inextricably bound up with the NCR's occupation of the Mojave. It's his war. If I compel the NCR to retreat, Kimball will be the sacrifice offered to the gods so decent NCR citizens can get on with their lives. In retrospect, the Mojave and Hoover Dam will seem like one man's misadventure. Kimball will be blamed, not me, not New Vegas. Then the hero of the Mojave would become the martyr of Hoover Dam. And when, subsequently, I force the NCR to retreat, they lick their wounds and dream of righteous vengeance against New Vegas. Hello, embargo. Farewell, tourist economy. I've calculated and recalculated these probabilities. Kimball must live.
Once that's done, the player then has to activate additional power to the strip at the El Dorado substation, in case during the battle, the NCR decide to turn off Hoover Dam. This again shows Mr. House's pragmatism against the different possibilities during the upcoming battle.
The strain of defending Las Vegas from annihilation exceeded my power system's capacity. My primary reactor shut down. For years I played a miser with my emergency power supply. I began to run out of reserves around the time I woke the first batch of Securitrons. Negotiating an allotment of power from Hoover Dam was crucial. That's what's powered the strip for the past 7 years. This is not a good time to be dependent on energy from Hoover Dam. When the Legion attacks, the NCR may cut power altogether. And I'll be needing a good deal more power than the NCR has allotted to the strip. Broadcasting encrypted VMQ-boosted command signals to hundreds of Securitrons eats up more power than you might expect.
With that done, the second battle of Hoover Dam begins. The new California Republic and Caesar's Legion battle each other for Hoover Dam once again. The courier meanwhile has a different task. They arrive at the dam and have to activate an override chip, giving Mr. House full control of the dam. The NCR aren't too happy with that, and they'll attack you when you enter. He also has the player print out terms of surrender for the NCR. After helping defeat the Legion, General Oliver arrives. He thinks that the NCR are victorious, but things don't go the way he expects. Mr. House's army of upgraded Securitrons appear behind him.
Caesar on the cross. Been a long time since I've seen the kind of work you've laid down today. A damn long time. And the screams of those Legion bastards as they kick dirt running east like a choir of angels to my ears. Speaking of, that crazy light show over the fort? What the fuck was that? Some kind of thumb of God you called down? Amazing. Fucking amazing. Could use 100 of you. Just scatter you over the east like jacks. Give those plum fucks the what for. What the hell are you on about? House? He's just a rumor on the strip. Never leaves his... What is this Brahmin shit? I'm not getting the feeling we're all about to sing Kumbaya here. What the hell are you talking about? What is this? The free economic zone of New Vegas. What the hell does that mean? Oh, wait, here we go. Demands NCR's immediate withdrawal. Withdraw? Like fucking hell we're withdrawing. We just held the dam. We didn't do it to let it go. This paper of yours isn't fit to wipe my ass. If you think after all that's happened, I'm going to grab my ankles and take it like the Legion. You know I won't surrender the dam. And certainly not to the ghost man of Vegas and his new right hand of the week. We held this place for years. Kicked one-legged out of here so hard Caesar burned him to a crisp. It's our post. We've fought for it. I'll fight for it again today. If you're looking to convince me otherwise, you better have a lot more reasons than you just telling me to go. True. Guess I'm a little too used to seeing Securitrons in Vegas to think they'd turn and be bad news. And I know how bad they can get. Look, House, Vegas, it's pretty. Got you blinded a bit maybe. But NCR's got perks too. Think about it before you sign on with him. And if you say no, keep in mind what that means. NCR may have its problems, but when we're riled, watch out. I'm not going to throw away the lives of my men just to make a point. And there'll be other days.
Mr. House proclaims victory and says this is just the beginning, and that's where the game ends.
You know, I've had thousands of employees in my time. Few met my expectations. Fewer still surpassed them. Your performance has been nothing short of spectacular. If I have need for a specialist of your stripe again, I'll know just where to turn. Back to Vegas, shall we? I really should do something about that monorail with all the new resources at hand. I can make sure it not only runs, but runs on time. Always bothered me, the imprecision. No need to worry about the General, by the way. He'll be held responsible, publicly disgraced. 36.5% probability of suicide, by my estimate. Kimball won't be able to save him. He'll be too busy getting thrown out of office. But less than a 3% chance of suicide, mind you. Vegas might see a dip in revenue for a few months, half a year. But soon enough, the tourists and their money will be pouring in. Vegas will be a shining jewel in the middle of the desert, an oasis of light, a beacon to show mankind the way to the stars. This is just the start, you see. This is where it all begins.
And so the courier who had cheated death in the cemetery outside Good Springs cheated death once again, and the Mojave Wasteland was forever changed. Mr. House's Securitron army took control of Hoover Dam and the Strip, pushing both the Legion and the exhausted NCR out of New Vegas. Mr. House continued to run New Vegas his way, a despotic vision of pre-war glory. The streets were orderly, efficient, cold. New Vegas continued to be the sole place in the wasteland where fortunes were won and lost in the blink of an eye. The courier, fair and kind-hearted to those in the wasteland, ensured that Mr. House would keep New Vegas stable and secure for future generations. Mr. House afforded him every luxury at his disposal in the Lucky 38, out of gratitude and a quiet sense of pride for his choice in lieutenants.
Isn't it great when there's a game with well-written characters that have clear motivations and philosophies? I kinda miss that. Mr. House is a character that's often misunderstood. His vision for New Vegas, as I've said, is a strange mix of authoritarianism and freedom. I've seen people claim he's a libertarian, but like I said, I've always seen him as more of an objectivist, and I could see a character like him being right at home in Atlas Shrugged. While I do see him as mostly an objectivist, he isn't a perfect one. Firstly, due to him wanting to become an autocrat, and rule basically as a dictator, and secondly, his willingness to assassinate or kill his enemies, which violates individual rights. Under the philosophy of objectivism, individuals have the right to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness, and these rights are not to be violated by others. Reason is seen as the only absolute, and the only tool humans have for gaining knowledge. Mr. House's adherence to reason aligns particularly well with his objectivism, and it is seen most clearly with his disdain for the Brotherhood of Steel and their mysticism.
We're talking about a coterie of bulging-eyed fanatics who think all pre-war technology belongs to them. They're a terrorist group, basically. Militant, quasi-religious fanatics obsessed with hoarding pre-war technology. Because they're ridiculous. Because they gallivant around the Mojave pretending to be knights of yore.
Another principle is his support for laissez-faire capitalism and limited government. He has no desire to legislate and wants people to be allowed to do what they please. Under objectivism, the role of the government has only three purposes: to have an army to defend the border, police to keep the peace, and courts to settle disputes. With Mr. House we see two of those with his Securitrons, though as for the courts, I don't see that mentioned anywhere. And lastly, Mr. House also adheres to rational egoism. He views his own self-interest as the highest moral value. This is seen in his ambivalence towards Benny's death, as he's no longer relevant. He even scolds the player for wanting to brag about it.
That's because he ceased to be relevant when you recovered the platinum chip. Revenge doesn't interest me. Progress does. Sorry to deny you a moment of primate triumph, but you'll have to go elsewhere to sound your barbaric yawp.
But again, he doesn't align perfectly, as he's willing to kill his enemies. He only chooses not to have Caesar harmed, because it keeps the NCR preoccupied with the rising threat of the Legion, and this serves Mr. House's own purposes.
Absolutely not. Caesar is of great use to me. I don't want you harming a hair on that man's head, assuming you could find one.
Overall, Mr. House is a fascinating character. Like so many characters in Fallout New Vegas, whether he's a dictator or a visionary businessman is left up to the player. His ruthless drive and technological ingenuity make him a force to be reckoned with. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed taking a look at Mr. House's character and his story. Let me know what you think of Mr. House, and who would you side with in Fallout New Vegas. I've also done videos covering Boone and Caesar himself, if you'd like to check those out. I'm Firelink Frontier and thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, please like and subscribe.